Hello everyone, this will be the review of game Finding Light, and the key was provided by developer. This is yet another game that is probably done in RPG Maker. So as always I have problems with recording it. I'm recording in window mode, the game is on full. I'm trying to record it with OBS. As always there is problems, so I will be probably checking recording more often. This is one of the few games by the same guy. I'm trying to cover them all, hopefully. This one is particularly ugly, even if you look at this whole RPG Maker thing. Maybe I'll go to options now. I'm trying to, navigate. Alright, so this is the options. Basically, we can run constantly, and I will probably switch off sound completely because it's quite annoying. And there's very little options in this game. It's just pretty much it. You can run or not, and you can move sound and music by 20%. That's it. I'm going to load my game and show you the combat and a little bit of the HUD, because this is the most important part. As you can see, I have to check it now again because I always having problems with that. Actually, the game looks like this. It is very pixelated and it's in a square window. I'm not sure how you can stretch it or not. That's how I play it. I usually play it in a small window, but then it records very badly. So you can move around like this. We'll probably run into combat in a moment. We should have just one combat, and I'll probably move to maybe to town to show you some shops. Okay, so this is the typical screen with combat. You have a lot of combat and a little bit of dungeon crawling with some puzzles, which are mostly spikes, mostly labyrinths, and some buttons to press, stuff like that. It's not very complicated, but it can be annoying. It can be a lot of backtracking and tons of fights like these. In fight, we can use just the typical attack, or you can use magic, which is not explained here, which is very annoying. It's explained in the menu when we are outside combat, but it's not explained here. We have to kind of remember what's what. As you can see, the game is black and white and very horrible in terms of graphics. It's extremely pixelated, even for the standard. Skills, again, not explained. You have to remember what you're doing. Like, you can cleave two guys at a time. You can also use items that are not explained as well here. So again, you have to remember them all. I'm just going to, well, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing, right? What is Q attack? What is peck? I'm gonna peck one guy, whatever, and attack with just typical, probably physical damage. So we are doing all the attacks. Yeah, cleave is useless because we already killed one of the two guys, the two griffin. By the way, everything is switched off, right? We still have sound, which shouldn't be there. Right, then we get level, which does God knows what. It's not explained. Alright, so this is how the HUD looks when we press escape. We have our level. We have items that we can use that are explained here. So there is all kinds of explanation on the screen, but not in combat. We have, again, different types of weapons. Some of them actually do something, others just have different stats. We'll move to stats in a moment. Armor that also includes specific relics that are like additional items that give you more stats, and basically magic, which is tech or magic, but it acts very similarly, kind of like just special powers. And key items, we have log, by the way. Oh yeah, this is actually useful because we know where to go, at least roughly. We don't know where it's Arcadia, but whatever, at least we have some guideline what to do. Aside from that, we have skills. We can use them here, from what I remember. For instance, yeah, I never know which guy, but okay. This guy has cure, it's healing, so we can heal from here, right? We don't have to heal in combat, we can heal. As you can see, I'm regaining HP. You can only use 4 people. 2 people are always outside combat. By the way, it's hard to say how different they are. Why would I use other characters than those that I'm using? I'm using the top 4, like those 4. Those 2 others are like, well, somebody else. It's hard to say what class they are, what are they using. They are just different, right? They are pre-made, all of them pre-made, so they're just supposed to be different, but you can give everybody probably same powers, and I'm not sure if same or not same weapons. Generally speaking, you can make them all very similar. You give them similar powers, you attack with basically just best weapon you can find. Usually most combat is just spamming attack button and that's it. Alright, equip. Of course we can equip stuff. We have weapon, shield, head, body, and then 2 places for relics. I think some guys have more than 2. It's hard to say what class they are, how they behave. And 4 slots for spells, 2 slots for tech, right? So we can use also additional powers and spells to use in combat. We have magic points, we have HP, we have some stats that do something, hard to say what because it's not explained here. Luck, agility, spirit, intelligence, strength and power. They are probably part of the engine, the RPG Maker engine, so I'm not an expert on this. You can only kinda guess. Like some stuff is probably more damage for physical, some might be more for uh, spells, but it's really hard to say. I guess agility might be who attacks first in combat because we have haste and slow spells, but I'm just guessing. Optimize makes you just use best gear possible. I'm not sure if it works correctly, but you can use it. Then we have status, which gives us this sort of information. So we have some chance for crit, some chance for evade, accuracy, which in this case is like always, but we don't know what are the modifiers of the enemy. Also, we still don't know what powers do. I mean, I'm not saying power by one of the stats, just generally all the stats that we're having. Also, powers here are not explained, so it's just general information. The mostly important is that how much XP you need, right? But anyway, you don't know what exactly leveling does. You don't unlock in this game anything by levels. At least I didn't unlock anything. You might be getting more stats. Yeah, I guess you're getting more stats and maybe more HP and mana, but I'm not entirely sure. I guess it is. It's so one of the engines probably used in different versions of RPG Maker engine. I'm not an expert on that, so I'm not sure. Formation, I think it's useless because we just have 4 guys in combat. I'm not sure what's the point of this. How, yeah, can move them around, but I don't know what it means, what it does. It's not like you have 2 rows, I guess you have just 1 row. Brewing is additional, so basically you can brew stuff, you collect items and then you can brew items out of them, like you can get mana and have like permanent mana potion or permanent health potion. Maybe there are others. I have no bloody idea how you get more recipes, so I just have those that I have. And yeah, you can do this. Additionally, you can use specific item and like those with this piece of meat, and you can change one of your characters into a mob. So they, aside from the 3 guys that you have also like a doggy, and this dog can be changed into all those strange monsters, and then it becomes the monster. So you can have 1 guy that can be switched into different monsters, and 3 guys are just very generic adventurers, and 2 guys in reserve that do usually nothing. I'm not sure what's the point of having them, but yeah, they exist, right? I just use the 3 guys all the time with the doggy. So that's pretty much all you have. And additionally, when we come to navigation, you can use specific power of the doggy and switch map. So you can be in the sky like I was now, and now we are in the like land. So this is this place where you start. The map was land. I'm gonna go into one more combat. Maybe we fight something easy. This is like a first act of the game where you fight stuff on the ground. Then you go to the sky, and I guess there is 2 more well, layers. I guess. By the way, that's very annoying. Should be fixed. Right, so this was easy fight. Then you switch to the soar thingy. Right, you go to next piece of land. Then you can, well, from here you can go to flying or landing, I guess. You can fly like this. I'm not sure if you can. I think you can fight like this. And there is different areas where you might be looking for something. From what I remember, I went here somehow. I was stuck here. I did something on this like a dungeon here. That's what I did before I started recording. And then you have more. There is no map from what I can see. There is one location here. There's a map on some guide on the Steam, and aside from that you're just supposed to find your way. So you can land here and do some combat. Probably you can land here and check what's this thing. Let's see, it's not explained, so maybe we go inside. Right, so we're in some sky farm and we can, you know, move around, maybe find some guy or do something. Let's see, let's enter. Can we enter? No, we can't enter. We can probably just go there or do something. Maybe it will be explained or unlocked later. So yeah, there's more locations in the world. Usually there is this random encounters thingy. One more fight. Again, sorry for the sound, but there is nothing I can fix here. Right, this is the typical combat you're doing. You just spam attack button, they die. You hope that next level will bring you more firepower, more HP, more stuff. Right, some gold, some loot. By the way, this is on easy. I wanted to just burn through the game, and yeah, it might be more complex if it's on harder, but I really see no point to just slow down. I played an hour 40 minutes, and yeah, you can save any time, right, like this. Typical thing. This is actually a good part of this engine because it's not problematic to use. Right, so graphically it's quite horrible, I would say. Let me just check the recording. Yeah, I hope it's okay. So I'm not a big fan of this engine. I do like dungeon crawling, I do like grinding, and I do like long JRPGs, but I think that in 2018 you should be playing ones that don't look like they are 30 years old, or they're being played on a phone. I actually saw a couple of games in RPG Maker that looked better. They were more colorful, less pixelated, better made enemies. Sometimes you had more distinct hero classes. It kind of differs always because there is a couple of those RPG Maker versions. Probably you can also, you know, modify stuff. So I'm not sure exactly how similar are those games. They're usually between $15–20 and down from there. This one is actually probably rather cheap. I know that one of the two games by this guy are like $1. I'm not sure if this one as well because I'm not even sure if it came out yet. But yeah, it's quite cheap, I guess. I guess this one I'm not really sure because I got like 2 or 3 of them. I know that some of them were really cheap. So yeah, the price differences are quite big. They're all in the same engine. They're all in this RPG Maker. The price difference can be like, you know, $1 to $20 for the more expensive, most expensive ones. The cheapest ones are usually like $1. When it comes to graphics, yeah, some look much better. I actually wanted to personally play some of them just because of the graphics, and it was weird because they were also RPG Maker games. I hate the engine, I hate the graphics, but some of them were done really well somehow. I'm not sure how it's done, but some really have nice graphics. At least in combat, sometimes there is some pictures of the characters, and those look better. So in some cases, it doesn't look that horrible. When it comes to the gameplay, well, to some extent the gameplay is always based on the engine. So yeah, it's top down, you move around, you have this option screen, it's always the same, right? That thing, it's usually, I don't even know what's the sync FPS and remember cursor isn't even used, but the dash and the music sound and lack of everything else, you have to guess how you change resolution. I think you press something, F1 or something, and it goes full screen. It's very weird. You have to pretty much remember and know the whole engine. I don't, because I don't really like those games. I don't hate the genre, because the genre is okay. I do like RPGs, and I do like turn-based combat. I just don't like the presentation. So in terms of gameplay, in terms of the story, which is not that good, not that complex, you generally just go from point A to point B and you burn through a lot of combat and some dungeons. But it's okay if you like the whole grindy idea, building up your party and moving towards bosses and new areas and basically beating the game in, well, some time. Usually those games are not very long, but they could be a couple of hours or even more, and maybe up to 20 hours at best. Some are very short. I'm not sure how long is this one because I'm just mostly confused and lost. I do get stuck on the puzzles a bit. So far it wasn't very horrible, but I was definitely running circles and going into tons of combat. So you have to know what you're getting. This is very grindy, very ugly, poorly done mechanically. JRPG, very simplified, but some people look for exactly that. So if you can deal with the graphics, if you can deal with the presentation, and you are desperate to play yet another game in the same engine, and you want to save money for some reason, and you want to just play for a few hours one more game that looks like all the other games but worse, then you will find gameplay here, because all those games have very similar gameplay. If you like the whole grindy idea going from level 1 to whatever the cap is, I'm at level 23 right now. Probably there's level 30 or 50 or 100 as a cap. There's really very little information. There is no discussion, no guides. I think there is maps for all the 4 layers. I think there's 4 layers in the game. I'm on the second one. So it's hard really to say what people will say about the game, how long it is. It's really hard to say. I can say it's 140 hours so far. It's like the second act of the game out of 4 probably. Of course on easy, so it could be longer if you get stuck, if you keep dying. It's really hard to make a good team if you have very similar characters and stuff is not explained, but because I played tons of those games, I kinda get it. I know that I have to optimize weapons, get best powers, and just use them either as nukes, those area of effect skills, or I have to get rid of status effects, because yeah, I play those games a lot, so I get it. If someone didn't, you might have a problem because it's not explaining stuff very well. But if you're a fan of the games, if you're fan of the genre, if you played other games like Final Fantasy, then you would probably find everything very sensible and well, easy to start, easy to play. The game doesn't really give you much information, but you know, you can eventually find it on your own, kinda. You know, there is definitely lack of information in terms of powers, in terms of stats, in terms of how the mechanics work, but that's the problem with the whole engine, basically. Is it hard? I would say not really. If it comes to combat, I wasn't stuck so far in terms of combat, but I was kinda running circles in puzzles. So you have to read the log and kinda know where you're going, and then um, deal with the puzzles. So you have to find a way out of dungeon. You have to find the exits and do a little bit of puzzles, a little bit of just running around the labyrinth and finding a way out, kind of like mazes. Aside from that, it's just very linear. Go just from one location to another, you fight some stuff, and then you go to next location. That's pretty much it. So I have big problem with this game. I really don't know what to say in terms of recommendation, because it's very mixed. On one hand, I definitely don't like the engine, but I do like the genre. So it's like very opposite. On one hand, I really hate games done like this, especially if they're RPGs, because I think it's a waste of good story, a waste of potential, really fun JRPG. You know, if this was made like Neptunia or Final Fantasy or Star Ocean or any other better game, that could be awesome. Because, you know, the story is okay. There would be a lot of combat, might be longer, might be more mechanics. Everything would look nice, would be clear. Here it's not. It's more like text-based, very basic, pixelated and ugly. I don't see the point of making games like this. It's 2018. I think we should move past that. I know some people are like that, like old stuff. Other people use it as an excuse. They make games like that because it's easier, because it's cheaper, and they say, oh, you know, it's the old stuff. People like it because it's something, you know. bring back memories or something. I would say no. I played Might and Magic 6, which looked better, and it was 20 years ago. So seriously, there is no need to make games this ugly and this simple. We should move to another engine, or at least make the best out of this one. And keep the story, keep the mechanics, keep the ideas, maybe explain them better, but make it just more fun to play, because going through hundreds of fights like this and just slowly grinding your characters because you kind of guess you have to grind them, you don't even know how they are changing, what they're getting, they're not unlocking anything, they're not really, well, they might be growing stronger, but you don't really see what stats they get. I think it's automatical, so it's like you don't really have much connection with your characters. You just kind of grind to the point of feeling secure, and then you move on, and it repeats in all those games for some reason. In terms of mechanics, yeah, most of them are just the basic stuff from the engine, so that's just the RPG Maker game with combat. We have added transformation of one character into monsters, which just he looks the same, but he gets different powers. We have quite deep, well, maybe not deep, but slightly better customization of gear. We have all the powers as customizable items, and we also have artifacts and well, weapon. You just usually you just use the best one, and that's it. But there is more than just one or two items. There's actually more of them. But there isn't really any builds or anything like it. You just use like healing for after combat. You use strong powers if you want to, or you just grind everything with basic attacks, and that's it. There is not very really complicated tactical element of this. You just power through everything basically. So it's not the best. We have this changing of layers. So that's again sort of an addition, like we go to the sky, we go to the land, we also go to like other two areas that exist in the game. So we have this layered world design, and we have brewing, right? So we can basically make some stuff on the fly from the loot, but we can also of course go to shops and just stock up on 99 potions, so that's also an easy solution. So I can see that the developer tries to do something with the engine. He tries to add some elements. Definitely the story is kinda long, because 4 big areas with small areas inside them and dungeons. So yeah, it takes time. It's not like super short game. There was some work done with the dialogues. This whole thing with being the game being black and white, I have no idea why, but I guess that's sort of artistical vision, so I'm not gonna really discuss it. I personally don't like it, but maybe some people will. I can see that there was work done, but I think that this work goes in the wrong direction. Everything done in the better engine or with more people who could work on graphics, if that's even possible in the engine, that would make much better result in my opinion. This is just very dumbed down in terms of presentation. So it's a very mixed bag. I mean, it is a playable JRPG, if we can even consider such simple games as JRPGs, because I personally always think about those big titles like Final Fantasy. It's the same genre, it's just this one is really ugly. And I do like the dungeon crawling, I do like grinding personally. So if people hate it, you will hate it. You will hate the random encounters. I don't mind them. I like actually getting stronger before I move with the story. I don't really care about the story personally, because I'm usually much after gameplay. So yes, there is some story to be had, but most you will be fighting and looking for exit and looking for another area. In terms of time, yeah, it could be recommended because it's cheap and probably, yeah, but I guess it's cheap. You definitely get many hours because you need to grind, you need to find exit, you need to find where to go and kill all the bosses and kill all the monsters on the way. So it's gonna take you time. If you want something to just spend time on, then definitely this is a solution. But there are better solutions. So I would give it 5 out of 10 because to some extent it's just very big problem with how the game looks. On the other hand, there was some work done with it. There was some small mechanics added to it, so it's not like super generic RPG Maker game. It's just very ugly, kinda generic RPG Maker game with some stuff added to it. So it's very average, but it's average on the level of RPG Maker game. So, you know, if you can accept the presentation, you can find it playable. If you don't, then you should skip it. It just depends if you can get any fun out of such ugly game, of such downgraded game, I would say. Because yeah, there are actually RPG Maker games that look good, which was surprising to me, but they exist. And yeah, it's just mixed bag. I should actually give it less points, but I'm looking at the game from the perspective of the engine. So this is like a big warning from my well, perspective. Just be aware that you're getting an RPG Maker game, and a cheap one, right? If you can look past it, if you can you know, deal with it, then sure, you can play it. You can have a few hours of fun from it, and this, if you get it for $1 or something, then sure. But just be aware what you're getting. Make some research, check what those games are. If you never played any, compare it with the other games. I guess there is like 300 of them on Steam, if I checked correctly. I even tried to actually do some research. Yeah, there's hundreds of them. There's also RPG Maker engines to buy on Steam, so we can make our own games. So it's kind of strange. You're pretty much making some sort of asset flip or DLC, but whatever, you know, if people accept it, that's okay. If that's what you want to pay for, that's up to you. I really don't want to attack the guy who makes it, or even people who make it, because some of those games are actually pretty good. Actually, the other game by the same guy is pretty good, even though it's the same engine. I just don't really understand why so many people and so many games are made like this. I mean, we can really make better stuff right now. We can really move to better looking RPGs and turn-based games. Like, I don't know, recently I was looking at Bard's Tale 4, and it looks amazing. You know, it's the same genre, but it looks amazing. So why would you play this? Because it's cheap? Because you find it, you know, like something you played as a kid on some, I don't even know what. I didn't even have console that looked this bad. This is like Commodore 64 or something, or Atari, or some early phones. So I don't get it why it's being made in 2018. But yeah, it's not bad if you actually play it, if you like this, if you like this genre, if you like this presentation. Yes, you can play it, but I wouldn't. I would basically pick another game that does the same genre. I would just pick another JRPG, unless I was completely out of money and desperate, and maybe. So yeah, I will give it 5 out of 10. Sorry for my rambling, but I always get annoyed when I get those games, kinda, to some extent, because I don't like attacking stuff that some people might like, but I just don't get it. I played so many good JRPGs, even older ones, that this just looks really ugly in comparison. Like Star Ocean is awesome for me, and it's an old game. People say, oh, it's using old engine. It's like 10 years old. I played it on Xbox, and it looks super awesome compared to this. And it's the same engine. I mean, not the same engine, same genre. And yet it has also, I think it has different combat. It actually has real-time combat. But you know, this is JRPG. That is JRPG. There's tons of JRPGs. Why play this? I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know. I actually played almost 2 hours, so I was really trying to be, you know, advocatus diaboli, and kind of try to go both sides, you know, attack the game and at the same time defend it, but I'm not sure if I made it properly. If you want to discuss it in the comments, sure, be my guest. I'm not voicing my opinion properly, so I can clarify if you want to. It's not that I hated the gameplay. I played for like 100 minutes, so almost 2 hours, and it wasn't very painful. But I'm used to those games, very used to. I played tons of them. I usually play them in a small window when I'm doing something else, like watching a movie or downloading something, or listening to something on YouTube. You know, I just grind in the corner. It doesn't really make me involved in gameplay. But yeah, if I need a time killer, if I have, you know, an hour to kill or two, sure, I could use it. But so I can use another game. You know, I can play free games from Steam made in Unity that look better. So I just don't know why would anyone choose this as like, oh, I want this. Why? Because what, you wanna play all the JRPGs that exist? And sure, if you wanna collect them, be my guest. Okay, guys, that was Finding Light, I guess. Let me just go back to, well, can we just quit to title? Yeah, it's called Finding Light by Joshua Cate. He made a couple of games, I think at least 3 of them. I will try to cover one more. It's actually better, and I think I covered one in the past. So if you are listening, then sorry for attacking you and the genre and the engine, but that's just my opinion. It's not a bad game if you can, you know, look past all the problems with it, like the fact that it's really hard to record with OBS. You know, problem starts at the moment you try to set options properly, because you know it's just very limited. Also, why black and white? I don't get it. But yeah, it is playable, sure. Okay, guys, I'm stopping here because I'm already rambling too long. So that would be it about Finding Light, and I'll see you in the next review.